down below. Make sure you go over to his channel and follow him, because this guy, I want to create the next level of superstars, and Matthew is going to be the next superstar. I know it.
Well, thanks, Mel. No, I mean, what would I want to say? I would say that to your audience, for us crypto investors, us crypto holders, we are on the right side, and we're going to be paid handsomely for it. And it's exciting times, and just hang in there. It's been a tough couple of years, that's for sure. But I'm not worried at all. I'm in a good place. We're all going to be in a good place, like you said earlier. So
yeah,
and just think about what you want to do with all that. Just think about what you all want to do with that capital as it grows in the future. Put it to work, and it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, Cliff High said this a few months back. He goes, out of all the people right now that we're going through this new world odor, okay, he says the people who are invested in digital assets seem to be the ones that are the most calm.
Yeah.
Roll that around your brain for a little bit.
That's nice. Yeah.
He's right about that. But anyway, guys. But before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There will be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Unified TV will take over Netflix. We're bringing in the next genre of movie producers and storytellers and actors and actresses. And we're telling the story of how the world is going to be on earth as it is in heaven. Jassara Nasara is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. Gold and silver, right down below. Promo code Mel Carmine. Make sure you use the promo code. Almost $8 billion in sales. We're direct to like a bunch of mints. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. Our Patriots are literally waiting for you in the room. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want. Well, good evening, folks. We got Matthew from DeFi Divvy, and he is, I would say, somewhat of an expert when it comes to DeFi, decentralized finance coins that are going to literally rattle the cages of the banks, which I believe the banks are going to go away. That's my personal opinion. He knows a lot about Songbird and Flare, which is the Spark airdrop that we're all waiting for. We've been waiting for in anticipation. I think it's got a lot to do with, this Bronson case settling around the same time. And if they, 2 or 3 weeks, we get an announcement saying that the Kabuki Theater lawsuit, which I believe was settled a long time ago, is settled, then we know we have a trifactor, and we shouldn't be too far off from 45 coming back into office and getting the show on the road. Matthew, welcome to the show, brother. I want to know as much as possible for my audience, particularly because we like to learn about this, Songbird and Flare and how it plays a role in this new ecosystem, this new financial system that we're about to be engulfed with, the new financial, quantum financial reset, if you will. So please enlighten us and tell us what you know. We want to learn. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me, Mel. Great to be here. Great to hear from you. So yeah, Flare Networks, Songbird, Flare Token, they are focusing on two really big problems in decentralized finance. One of them is basically interoperability, bridging. We've heard of a lot of hacks happening over 2022. We've heard some of the biggest hacks in crypto were related to bridging. So one of the problems is right now when you try and bridge assets from one blockchain, layer one, to another blockchain, you're locking up your assets in this smart contract, and it's just sitting there parked waiting for hackers to get their hands on it. So if there's a vulnerability, multiple ways, and we've heard of plenty of them. So Flare's focusing on, they solve that, focusing on solving that. And then right now we have the airdrop coming. The first iteration of Flare networks going is out. And right now the two primary things are the FTSO price providers and the state connector. And so FTSO price providers, basically what they do is they send decentralized pricing data into the Flare time series Oracle, and app developers can use that pricing data to build DeFi apps. And so now you have these price feeds that are not centralized. They're not controlled by any central entity. It's decentralized price. So you know that you're getting this source of truth that is not manipulated by any single entity. And this can come in handy for DeFi apps, for lending protocols, you name it. Likewise, with these oracles, these price provider oracles, if you will, or these price providers that provide data into an oracle, there's an ability to provide different types of data into there too. So imagine one day providing real estate market data or stock price data or anything you can think of that is provided. It's decentralized, so you're not trusting some single entity to manipulate you with that data. And then you can build apps using that data that, here it's where it's like a blank canvas. The sky's the limit. There's so many things that can be built. And I love to talk about use cases. It's one of my favorites.
Well, why don't we do that? I know that decentralized finance tokens, in my opinion, based on what I know, and I don't know a lot, but I know enough to be dangerous, that these will be the coffin nails to the banking industry as we know it. I was just watching a video on Charlie Ward. I'm sure you know who Charlie Ward is. If you don't, he's a pretty big guy in the Patriot movement, with the quantum financial system, Nassara, et cetera. And he said something that hit home with me, because I'm going to be on with Charlie Ward tomorrow on the 9th. So the reality is that he said something that struck me. He said, the central bank digital currencies are going to be rolled out, but the people who already know are rejecting them because there's no need for another bridge on the blockchain when the bridge currencies we have work perfectly well peer to peer. Why do we need another bridge? Just because the bank is powerful and mighty and they got a lot of money, power, and influence? It doesn't work that way. And they know that they've been had, and they want to put a social credit score. And when you're walking down the street, you imagine a guy like me, I'm totally about the conspiracy facts. Walking down the street, my social score will read something like 900 trillion minus zero. So
that's scary.
So
yeah,
I'm not having that, and where they could dictate, well, you're not a good citizen, so you cannot buy, sell, or trade, and you cannot buy airline tickets, and you cannot travel by train, and you cannot order an Uber today. That's bullshit. That's not going to happen. When the people wake up to this fact, I think it's going to be good night, Irene, to the banks. They're going to morphosize into something that we think is going to be, financial service centers, which some of them are already starting to call themselves that. And they're going to work under a software, I think, called PolySign. It's going to be completely a different story. So where do you stand on this decentralized finance? You think that the banks are going to be powerful enough to say, no, we're going to put a second toll on the blockchain and screw you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So they definitely, they don't want to be disrupted, obviously. And it will come to a point where they're going to probably try and, through regulation, through government partnerships, to be able to stop what they can. But at the same time, when you're a business person, if you have on your business hat, it will actually be a bad business decision to stay with centralized banks, because you'll realize, we can use DeFi, cut out all these intermediaries. And from a business standpoint, we're making a lot more money because we can use this decentralized single source of truth to run operations through our verticals. And this is way cheaper than having all these intermediaries. This increases our profits. So just from a business standpoint, I think banks probably should be a little scared, rightly so. It's what I love about this is it's not the ideology that will take them out, because we all believe in sound money here, and we all believe in freedom, and I believe in that 100%. But that's not what's going to take them out. What will take them out is corporations, businesses, and people going, this is just better. I just make more money by using DeFi and decentralized and blockchain.
Exactly. And so we have to, at some point, people will come to the understanding, the aha moment, that they're going to get the fact that, we don't really need banks anymore. We've just become our own banks. We got this stuff, right? We got these hardware wallets. You go, you log in. By the way, you're crazy if you buy these things anywhere else on the internet. You're crazy, because what's going to happen is you're going to go to a hacker's website. Not to get off track, billions of dollars have gone missing off of these things because people are buying them from the hackers. And as soon as you go to collect your money, I don't know how they reprogram them, repackage them, but you can't tell. And you go to collect your money and your money's gone. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, because they're putting the hackers are giving you the seed phrase.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. But so talk to us about this Songbird and the significance. I understand Songbird was an airdrop, correct?
Yeah, Songbird was airdropped, I believe, about a year ago. I could be a little longer, a little shorter, but somewhere around then. I've been delegating to signal providers Songbird, wrapped Songbird for a while now. And yeah, so Songbird is the native token of what's called the Canary Network. So Flare Networks has two production networks, if you will, two blockchain networks that run with real money. One of them is called the Songbird Network, and the other one's, or the Canary Network, and that runs on Songbird as the native token. The other one is Flare Network and the Flare token, which we're all going to be airdropped tomorrow. So hooray! So now the Canary Network, which has the Songbird token, any dApp developer will need to build and have and test out in a production setting on that network first, because you're using real money and you want to test your application with real money, because you have to get as close to a real test as possible. And so that is the purpose of the Canary Network and the Songbird Network. It will find important bugs that you may have overlooked in the development stages that really you could only test with real money. And so that is going to be where dApps gain insights, make tweaks, and they fine tune their applications so well that they're able to now run on the Flare network. All the kinks have been worked out. And now for us investors, it might sound scary, like, well, why am I investing in Songbird? And well, for one, it's real money. Now, it's not, I'd say the investing in Songbird in and of itself, even though it's used for live testing, isn't as risky. But what might feel kind of risky is deploying your Songbird to a DeFi protocol that's built on the Canary Network first before it's made it to Flare. So that might feel like a little more risk. But likewise, just like if you use the way Kusama and Polkadot work, which is the same setup, the Kusama token is a much higher price than the Polkadot token for some of the and there are some of the same dynamics in play there. Kusama has a lot fewer tokens than Polkadot. Songbird has a lot fewer tokens than Flare. Kusama is a test network. Songbird is a test network. And so I think that for what I'm trying to say there is, for that increased risk on Songbird, you may see an increased reward. No guarantees, of course, but that's how I think it'll play out.
Yeah. How do we make passive income going forward once the market settles and morphosizes into what it really wants to be? How do we make money off of this where it's safe? I'm sure that there's going to be always scam artists out there trying to figure out how to get your tokens and set up bullshit, ways for you, thinking that you're getting into something that's going to make you interest. Next thing you know, some hackers over in Nigeria own your tokens.
Yeah. And so one of the most things that I'm really passionate about is just simple crypto passive income, and that's built on blockchains that have utility use cases and solve business problems. And so how do you get that simple crypto passive income while avoiding all the scams and rug pulls and scam artists? And so one way is to simply stick to delegating and staking. So for example, on the Songbird network and on the Flare network, you can you wrap your Songbird, and basically all you're doing is you're delegating votes to a signal provider. You're not even locking up your tokens. You can still use your wrapped Songbird in other protocols, but when you delegate that vote, what you're doing is you're providing vote power to that signal provider so that their prices are read by the time series oracle. Then if for doing so, if that price provider gets accurate prices, the oracle rewards that provider, and that provider shares those fees with you for delegating your vote power. And so that is risk-free because it's not one. I mean, nothing is 100% risk-free. There's always going to be some sort of risk, whether it's the price of the token, but the network and all the smart contracts have been audited by Trail of Bits. It's one of the most reputable audit firms in the world. Now we still have to trust that, right? There's still some level of trust, but
sure.
If you look into Trail of Bits, you'll see they've audited Google, they've audited IBM, they've audited GitHub or GitLab or Git, all things that we use every day now in the Web 2 software world. Trail of Bits is also auditing Web3 companies now, and they've audited Songbird and they've audited Flare. So if you stick to just earning crypto passive income by delegating staking, you're just putting your coins into an audited protocol, an audited network, I should say. And when it gets more risky is when you start putting your capital into DeFi protocols that are built on top of these networks. And so, for example, right now on Flare, on Songbird, we have Flare Finance is one. We have Oracle Swap, which is another one. Another one is Pangolin. And there are some more I just can't think of at the moment. And so then it comes down to doing research on how do I know this DeFi protocol that I'm deploying my capital to is legit. And then there's a whole, model, which is always being tweaked. But so what I do is I try and look at the team. I look at have the smart contracts for this DeFi protocol been audited, because this is completely separate from Songbird or Flare networks. So I'll look into that. I'll look into the total value locked on DeFi Llama. So when you can see if there's a high total value locked, all that means is, a lot of people are putting money in here, so a lot of people trust it. Now, does that mean that's the best source of, trust? Like, everyone else is doing it, so I could too? Not necessarily. So it's still a delicate dance of always evaluating, diversifying, and being careful, right? So when it comes to the protocols, I'm not like one to say put it all in on one DeFi protocol on Flare network. I like to diversify across them, as well as have a nice chunk just staking and delegating where it's pretty safe there.
Yeah.
And then maybe keep some locked up in cold storage.
Sure. Explain to the audience, my audience specifically, voting rights. What gives you the voting rights, and what makes you, for example, earn more than me? Is it because you have more voting rights because you have more tokens, for example? Would that give you more voting rights? How does that work?
Oh, the voting rights, I think that the vote power comes down at the price provider level. So we are delegating voting power to a price provider. And so the price providers that have a certain amount of vote power, I believe the algorithm somehow evaluates them more than maybe a newer price provider that doesn't have any vote power. So, and they just changed what's called the voting cap, I believe, to like 2.5% now or something like that. So yeah, it's all part of how the price providers are ranked, and it's a work in progress to keep it all decentralized. So no single entity has all the vote power. So it's divided up among a list of price providers. And then let's say a brand new signal provider came in there and had like 0 vote power. We might want to delegate to that person or that entity, because we might earn higher rewards based on the fact that they are offering a higher reward rate to entice you to give them vote power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you can analyze signal providers at a website called flaremetrics.io. Mm-hmm. You can get data there to see which price providers you might want to delegate your votes to. But essentially, it's different than staking. When you're staking, sometimes you're locking up Like for example, on ETH2, you're literally going to lock up your Ethereum for I think what 6 months or something. So this is different. You're not locking anything up. You always have access to your tokens. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Now explain to us the Flare protocol on all of this. How is the Flare protocol fit into this whole thing, this whole new thing, DeFi that's coming? I know that not everybody knows everything about everything, and I tend to believe that I'm one of those people. That's why this takes a team of people. Everybody's got a piece of the puzzle, and together, no one man, no one woman is an island. But together, we all have a little piece, and we can paint the full picture practically. So, what do you know about the Flare protocol? I know that it doesn't work on proof of stake, and I know that it doesn't work on proof of work. But there is another protocol that makes it function. Do you know what that protocol is?
Oh, it's similar to XRP. It's Avalanche consensus,
it's on a consensus
and then byzantine fault. Yeah, Avalanche consensus. So okay. So basically, and the exact type of consensus on Avalanche, I'm drawing a blank right now, but it's a mixture of Avalanche consensus and then Byzantine fault tolerance, similar to XRP. I think they kind of went with a combination of Avalanche, XRP, and then the EVM for the ability to build your decentralized applications using Solidity and Ethereum APIs.
Right.
So those are the three of the network. Those are three main components of it: Avalanche consensus, Byzantine fault tolerance, XRP style, if you will, XRP ledger style, and then the EVM Ethereum virtual machine. And I feel like I'm probably leaving out some detail there, but yeah, this is what comes to mind right now.
Yeah. How long have you been at this? I know your channel seems like it might be relatively new. Did you just jump in like a few months ago?
Yeah, the YouTube channel I started January 13th will be 1 year ago.
Okay.
And I started following crypto. Well, I mean, I first started Bitcoin in 2011, but I was I was actually leveraged in precious metals, and I wasn't able to really just get out of it and go all in on Bitcoin. And I actually didn't know enough about it. I started following it, and then I started following the markets quite a lot heavily in 2013. Finally started picking up some Bitcoin during that 2015 long kind of grind sideways during that summer. I think it was like 150 bucks. So I started dabbling with it there. And then I started really getting into XRP around the end of 2018. So the bear market was the crash of 17. We had that long bear market. And then I started looking at other cryptos, and a friend of mine had recommended XRP around that time. And I thought, okay, this makes more sense to me. Bitcoin's cool. I like it, but this is solving a problem. And I started, this light bulb started going off in my head about utility, about use cases, about, this token's being used. Like this is being used by enterprise. Yeah. And so I always draw parallels back. Well, it's a different topic. Never mind. But, to answer your question, on and off, maybe, what is this, 8 years now? Heavily since 2018. Mid 2018, towards like the last half of the crash.
But you understand the utility, you understand the usability of XRP, the fact that you could build smart contracts, you could build other federated side chains, you could build other tokens on it. You understand that it's already been proven in the labs that it's scalable to 3.5 trillion transactions per second. I didn't stutter when I said that. Okay. This has been reported on a gentleman who used to have a blog by the name of Hodor, who was a
Hodor, yeah.
Yeah, you remember him? Okay.
Yeah, a great blog, yeah.
Writer. What an intellect.
Writer, yeah.
What an incredible intellect.
Yeah. Remember Galvatron?
Yeah, Galvatron, exactly.
He's gone too. I think Hodor got back into software development.
These guys, I believe, were inside Ripple guys. They were sort of let loose to throw out the breadcrumbs.
The amount of knowledge they had between Galvatron and Hodor.
Wow.
It was insane.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Unbelievable. And so,
yeah,
I believe that those guys were let out to really get people to scratch their heads a little bit. You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
XRP is the new and improved Bitcoin 5.0 on steroids. No question about it.
Mhm.
And as we get into
Mhm.
this new quantum financial system reset, not the global reset, not the one that you're not going to have nothing and you're going to be happy. No, we're going to have everything, and there's going to be a new ruling class, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Mm.
Okay. And they look like
Yeah,
us.
that's
Look at us, because
you
we're going to
know,
be it. We're going to be the next ruling class. So
I'm not going to complain if it plays out that way.
no, it's going to. It might take, a little longer for things to play out. But when they need
I
to go fast for their own convenience, it's going to go fast.
I will say this: I've been stacking XRP, like I said, since the right around the end of 2018. I haven't sold one. I've been stacking the entire time. When the SEC against Ripple lawsuit hit in December 2020, I think I
Yeah.
bought a little more. And what surprised me was some of the biggest influencers, a couple of them, I won't name names, were selling. I was like, you're selling? To me, this was always baked in. Like is XRP a security or not? I remember Galgatron and people like that talking about that long before the SEC lawsuit. So this was already a part of my investment thesis. Part of
Sure.
the risk was, is this going to be a security or not? And so when it finally went to like a lawsuit against the SEC and Ripple, I was like, well, this is just part of the process we're all expecting. I don't know why everyone's in shock. It was amazing to me. I never sold one. I just continued to buy. I stopped buying because, I mean, I'm happy with my bags there. If it goes under 30, if it goes back into the 20-cent range, maybe I'll buy some more.
Brother,
But
I don't know about all that buyback stuff either. It's a nice dream. It's a nice speculation. But here's my train of thought. Going into this new world that we're about to embark on, whether you believe in it or don't believe in it, it doesn't matter. I have proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that the jubilee of debt, the debt wiping out of debt, is happening right underneath our nose. We're about to release a video here shortly on debt, another debt forgiveness show that I did. This will be number 5. I got number 6 and 7 and 8 lined up as well. We're talking about mortgage forgiveness, student loan forgiveness, car loans, government loans, all kinds of loans just vanishing. When was the last time in the history of America or the history of the world that you're seeing this happen? We have to start from a level playing field, like Donald Trump says. We need a level playing field, a fair level monetary playing field. So with that said, we're about to get into this new world that we're talking a universal basic income, not the one that Klaus Schwab and the cabal wants. That's $500-600 a month, and they're going to try to dictate and have a social score on you walking down the street and barely existing. We're talking about a universal basic income, and it's not going to be utopia. People are going to have to do something for that. There's going to be some kind of website that you're going to go log into, and you're going to be handling one of our humanitarian projects. So the reality is, when you got most of India, most of Africa, most of Southeast Asia unbanked, that are about to be banked with the new and improved Bitcoin called XRP 5.0 on steroids. And we're going to be moving, you do the math. When I say 50 quadrillion, I'm telling you a 50 quadrillion movement of money in this new world that we're getting ready to graduate into is conservative, right? So when we're talking about moving $50 quadrillion a year, and the one that is scalable to 3.5 trillion transactions per second is the one that is going to be the gorilla that's sort of like in the room that nobody wants to talk about, the Kabuki Theater lawsuit. Okay. This is all to slow everything down so that we graduate into this new world that we believe is called Nasara Jasara. Okay. So when you're talking about moving $50 quadrillion a year, which is a factor of 10x bigger than the old world, and the one that's going to do it is XRP, you're not going to do that with 35-cent token. Sorry, not happening. You don't have to be a mathematician on steroids to figure that out. Correct?
Yeah.
So you did the right thing. You just keep buying, hold, buy, hold. You're going to get your day in the sun, Matthew. I promise you.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
all going to get our day in the sun because
We're
he
gonna
has
get
the
it.
right attitude.
We'll get our day.
Yeah, absolutely. So
We'll get it.
what else could you tell our audience based on what you're studying so far with this decentralized finance, which is exciting because anything that puts the cabal out of business to me is exciting. This has been a long time coming. The meek shall inherit the earth. We are about to inherit the earth. What else could you tell our audience that you've learned along the way in the last couple of years of studying this space, and something that could sort of like, get the light bulbs to go on?
Well, I mean, first of all, you just reminded me how excited I am to disrupt, traditional finance and what's the banking system and the whole way that works. And yeah, and it's the transfer of wealth. I get so geeked up about that and excited and happy. David versus Goliath. As far as right now, it's a time for capital growth. We have this gift of this bear market.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are afraid. And so this is the time where, I like to make myself buy and purchase, because here's what I've learned and here's what I believe. So with DeFi specifically, yeah, you can go into protocols and take some risks, and you can chase these 300 to 5,000% APYs, but they're not sustainable. They're very short lived. You pay these fees, you get out unscathed, and you realize, okay, that was fun. It was actually not so passive at all. It's quite a bit of work, moving money around, copy paste here, going across a bridge here. Either am I going to use a DeFi bridge, or am I going to put it back on a centralized exchange and bridge there and go over here? And now I'm going to earn these 10,000% APYs, and now everyone else is doing it. So now it's really like, 3%. A lot of work. So what I believe is that here, and that stuff's fun. Don't get me wrong. I like to do it for fun, but what gets me geeked up is just kind of more simplicity, right? Right now we're in a bear market. It's capital growth. So buy, hold, stake and delegate for some simple stuff. Maybe play around with some DeFi. But what I do believe is in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, prices are going to go back up. And now all that stuff you acquired now, you can put it into pretty places that will be safer. And you can just generate like, oh, this crypto passive income, since I got in early, this crypto passive income now in 2025, 26, 27, it pays my mortgage, it pays my car payment. It just funds my lifestyle, right? And you don't have to sell your tokens. And it can be as simple as delegating, staking, putting in a lending pool, and that lending pool is powering an app that adds value to an end consumer who's willing to pay for the value being added. That's my favorite type of DeFi. That's what I learned. That's what I believe the future is we, us, you, me, retailers are providing capital to a smart contract.
Yep.
That capital provides liquidity to centralized applications that solve business problems, and it solves problems for consumers. They might not even be investors or know that their fees that they're paying to use the app are going to people who supply the liquidity, like you and me. And so we may only earn like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. But since we bought back here in 2022 and 2023, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, we're earning it on like a large chunk of money. And so that's going to be a beautiful way to put
so many of us have
future.
So many of these, digital assets that even if you were getting 1/4 of 1% monthly, okay, you're going to make, if you're worth, let's say I'm right. Let's say that, going into this new world, we're going to be moving 50 quadrillion, and they need the XRP to be at 100,000, not because you and I needed to be, they need it because they have to, conduct world affairs. Okay. And in order for them to conduct world affairs into this new world that we're going to graduate, and when we graduate into this new world, it's not going to take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think it's going to happen rather quickly. Because of their convenience, and now the old world is no longer existing. The new world is, and they need to be a specific number.
Yeah.
So when that number happens, I don't think it's going to be a number because me and you are greedy. It's a number that they need to conduct commerce. We got to get away. I'm going to give you a small challenge, Matthew. We got to get away from calling it crypto. Crypto is what the cabal wants. The cabal wants me and you in the crypt. They want to take your crypto, they want
Yeah.
to take your digital assets, and they want you and I 6 feet under. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to call it digital assets. That's what they're
Digital
called.
assets.
Proper name.
Yeah.
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 So it's important for
Good
your
point.
audience and everybody to start. Let's not give these guys any credence or any power whatsoever. And I love pissing in their cornflakes. Believe me. So yeah. But
digital assets, yes.
yeah, digital assets is what they are. And we're moving into that world very quickly. We're going to burn down the old world. We're never going to go back because there's nothing to go back to. Out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. The phoenix will be XRP. There's no doubt in my mind. XLM, XDC. How many tokens do you think personally are going to survive when the shit falls off the wall and the smoke clears and the dust settles, etc.?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. What do we have like now? 20,000 or
27,000 and counting.
27,000 now.
By the time we get done with this podcast, there'll probably be like 200 more new tokens.
I would say somewhere between 20 and 40.
That's the number I keep saying. I say at the most there'll be 50 tokens at the most, but I think about 15, 20, 30 tokens is it. The ones that have utility, the ones that solve a problem, the ones that solve problems. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, the whole world's about to change. We're going to go into smart contracts. Real estate agents, doctors, and lawyers are going to have very little to do because you're going to be able to buy and sell your house through tokenization. Everything is going to be tokenized. I think the gold and the silver is going to be tokenized on the blockchain. Why? Why would the gold and the silver have no technological advancement? It's just a metal that you could put in technology that make technology work, like computers, televisions, your watches, what have you. But technically speaking, there's no technological advancement as far as the gold and the silver. So the actual inventory is going to be put on the blockchain because the blockchain, the XRPL, cannot be messed with. It's the most secure blockchain in the history of the world. Every hacker in the world has come forward, says it's beyond impossible to hack, period. End of story. So when they realize that they have so many, quintillions of tons worth of gold, and they do because they've been hoarding it for thousands of years. This hasn't happened like since the Nixon administration, and they're going to have to keep inventory tabs on how much silver, how much gold, how much whatever we have, all the precious metals. I bet you a percentage of them will be going towards the rainbow currency and the dinars and the zims and all the money that's about to reevaluate. Look, I'll give you an example. This is more for your audience, and my audience knows about it, but I need to entertain your audience just as much as you entertained mine. Okay. It's important to know that Trump was giving us all these breadcrumbs. When he came down the escalator saying that he was going to run for president, behind him, there was a sign. What did that sign say, Matthew? Do you know?
No, I don't remember.
Currency exchange.
Wait, what was that?
Currency exchange.
That's what the sign behind him said?
Yes. Go look at it. Go look at him coming down the escalator, and you'll see the sign. It says currency exchange.
Really? Okay.
He goes and he wins the presidency. He does the inauguration speech. He goes, "We're going to give the power back to you, the people." Again, this is for your audience. My audience has a black belt on this. We're giving you Jasara Dasara. We're giving you life extension technology. We're giving you free energy technology. It's all coming. That's why they don't want it back. Gotcha. He goes and does a speech at the Whirlpool company, and there's 17, the famous letter, that 17th letter in the alphabet, okay, that we're not allowed to talk about here, okay, 17 washing machines at the Whirlpool company. He goes and does a speech at Ford company. There's 17 Fords behind them. He does a speech on stage. There's 17 flags behind them. Why that number? We got a compilation of video of him saying 17, 17, 17, 17. I mean, it's like a minute and 49 seconds long, right? He goes to Missouri to an RV company, and he turns around and says to his wife, "I think we're going to get an RV." Now, this guy, he does his business on gold-plated toilet bowls, or solid gold toilet bowls that are 24 karat gold. I can assure you that Donald Trump is not going to be traveling in an RV anytime soon. He's telling you there's a reevaluation coming.
Mm-hmm.
These are all breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Breadcrumbs. Yeah. You got to be able to be smart enough to understand and read between the lines. What is he telling us? That's why I love the 17th movement, because they pay attention to all of this stuff that makes sense to me. And that's why I say there's two players on the field. It's not Klaus Schwab unopposed, and the central bank digital currencies will have no place in this new world. I promise you. Is there anything you want to say, guys? By the way, his links are going to be right down below. Make sure you go over to his channel and follow him, because this guy, I want to create the next level of superstars, and Matthew is going to be the next superstar. I know it.
Well, thanks, Mel. No, I mean, what would I want to say? I would say that to your audience, for us crypto investors, us crypto holders, we are on the right side, and we're going to be paid handsomely for it. And it's exciting times, and just hang in there. It's been a tough couple of years, that's for sure. But I'm not worried at all. I'm in a good place. We're all going to be in a good place, like you said earlier. So and just think about what you want to do with all that. Just think about what you all want to do with that capital as it grows in the future. Put it to work, and it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, Cliff High said this a few months back. He goes, out of all the people right now that we're going through this new world odor, okay, he says the people who are invested in digital assets seem to be the ones that are the most calm.
Yeah.
Roll that around your brain for a little bit.
That's nice. Yeah.
He's right about that. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna hit the pause button. Guys, don't forget to follow Matthew. There's definitely, listen, we can learn from everybody. Everybody brings something of value to the table. He does too. He's focusing on the DeFi. I'm focusing on Jasara. Somebody else is focusing on something else. Together, we paint the perfect picture. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.